Hello, welcome to Pike Creek Farm. My name is Renee, and if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be canning some chicken. I am doing a Free the Freezer challenge to myself, and anyone can join where I'm not buying any meat unless it's a really good deal that I'm canning, and that's what I got. I got 40 pounds of chicken breast, boneless, skinless chicken breast for $2.25 a pound, and that's the best price I've seen around here in a long time. I've been able to get like $2.99, but not close to the $2 mark. So I'm getting low on my canned chicken, and we're gonna restock. So all of this chicken, all 40 pounds, is gonna go into jars, whether it's just plain chicken. I might make some into soup because I love to have soup on the shelf, but that's what I'm doing today. Maybe tomorrow too. We'll see how much I can get done. And if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. I live in the thumb of Michigan, and I like to do videos on canning and vintage recipes and baking and just life here on our little piece of land that we have. At this stage of life, I'm semi-retired and I'm trying to be thrifty and thriving at the same time. And I really enjoy canning. So to me, this is thriving. I love the process. I love seeing the jars, and I like using it. So we're gonna cut up some chicken now. I have a big bowl. I got a sheet pan out, and I'm gonna get a cutting board to go in here, but then the juice will stay in this sheet pan rather than go all over. I have a pull-out cutting board, but then it would go on the floor, and I don't want chicken juice on the floor. So we're gonna get this cut up. I don't usually wear gloves. I know some people do, so definitely do whatever you feel comfortable with. I have Lysol spray and soap and water right here, so I just will wash my hands very thoroughly before I touch anything else and in between everything. So I'm gonna cut up some chicken. And I'm gonna show you a clip right here of when I went to the Mennonite store. I went to two of them. One is a meat processor, and that's where I got the chicken. And then I went further down because my dad wanted to have lunch there. They have a really good cafe. They make this one salad I love called Colorific salad. So colorful, homemade dressing, amazing. I did get just a few things. Some things I needed to fill in, like I was out of chocolate chips and, some of those things. And I'll show you what I got. Here is my colorific salad, and here is Dad's fish and chips. And what I bought was chocolate chips, semi-sweetened milk. Chocolate's going up in price. Old-fashioned oats and quick oats for baking and making granola. They had a great price on pecan pieces. And then I got some pumpkin pepitas because I like to use that for granola. Got some sweet treats for my husband. Split peas for soup and another sweet treat. I also got some of their honey roasted peanut butter they make right there. Some Dutch cocoa. I love their cocoa powder. And they only had small containers, not the big, so I got 2 small ones. And then I got, they make fresh bologna, ground bologna spread, and we like that a lot. And then this was a treat. There's a local dairy, and they make chocolate milk that is just amazing. So we got some of that. We also stopped at another little bakery, and we got some cashew crunch and banana cake. Dad picked that up. Let's get to cutting up some chicken. I have my cutting mat that I'm gonna put on the sheet pan. Now, I won't keep you here while I cut it all because it will probably get a little boring. Okay, let's cut this one up. If there's a lot of excess fat, I trim that off. Otherwise, a little bit of fat is not bad. And I try to cut it just in chunks, like 1-inch cubes. And I'm gonna put it in this bowl. And I will put this bowl in the refrigerator until I have enough cut to do the whole canner. I want to get 18 pints. I do mine in pints because there's just 2 of us, and that's what works out the best for us. If I'm making something that I need more, well, then I just use 2. Now, what do I use this for? We love it. Number 1, chicken salad. I make a lot of chicken salad for lunches to have on hand. My husband likes it a lot. I use it for making stews and soups, for quick casseroles, chicken Alfredo with broccoli, fried rice. I have my grandma's recipe. I have a video on it for hot chicken salad. I just use it for anything that I would use chicken for. I prefer the raw pack. You can par cook this, and when you hot pack it, you fill it with liquid. And there is a ball method where you raw pack and you put some liquid. I usually do not. The juice that comes out of this meat makes great broth that the chicken is in. So when you go to use it, don't throw it away. So I'm gonna keep cutting up this chicken, and I will bring you back when it's time to pack the jars. 2 bags of the chicken is cut up, so this is 20 pounds. I have my canner filled. I have a 23-quart Presto. I have the required amount of water, which is 3 quarts. Follow your canner's instructions. I have my jiggler out for when I go to can, when it's ready for that. I have done my check to make sure my seal looks okay and everything else. I have canning salt, I have lids, I have rings, I have vinegar to wipe the rims. I don't always use vinegar, but when I'm doing meat, I tend to because it helps to cut the fat. And I'm doing pints, and I do put salt in mine. That's totally optional. I like some salt in it. I don't do a lot. Sometimes I'll add poultry seasoning or garlic or onion powder, but usually I do it plain. I've done Mexican chicken and some different flavored ones, but I go through the plain the most. And then I season it however I want when I go to use it. And my husband loves it. And he's really a proponent of us having a lot of shelf-stable protein. If we ran out of power, if something happened weather-wise or whatever-wise, we will have that food. Plus, with prices going up, when I can buy meat or vegetables, whatever it is, at a low price, let's preserve it and save money. So in the middle of winter, I'm not paying a high price. Let's start filling some jars. We're gonna fill the jars with 1 1/4 headspace. So, like these have a freezer line on it, and that would be about the right spot because it's an inch. It used to be an inch headspace, and it was changed a few years ago to 1 1/4 is the recommended. Bring you closer, and we're gonna put the meat in here. I did wipe everything down and spray it with antibacterial spray and washed my hands and the sink and the cookie sheet pan, whatever you want to call it. Now you want them, tucked in, but you don't want to shove it
till it's like crammed in. But we try and have no big air pockets. Now, you might wonder why we don't do the par cooked. To us, and that is just our personal taste, it gets a firmer, drier texture, and my husband really doesn't care for it. And there's no sense in canning things that someone's not going to eat. So I'm going to put half a teaspoon of, this is canning salt. And I'm just going to go down the middle and the sides, see if there was any big air pockets. And it seems okay. And you can see it's under, I hope it shows that it's below the 1 inch. So now we're going to take a paper towel. I'm going to dip it in the vinegar. Wipe that rim. Put a lid on. I went and bought some more wide mouth pints. I like doing the proteins in the wide mouth, and most of mine are used up, so I knew I would need some more. This is ready to go in the canner. And I'm going to double stack. I'll put a shelf in between. Canning meat, I think, is like the easiest thing there is to can. And it intimidated me like nothing else. I had never pressure canned. I just was like, no way can I do it. Well, now I'd rather do this than water bath canning. And I just love the variety that it opened up to me. All the things that I can now that I couldn't before safely. Now the salt is totally optional. If you want to leave the salt out, you can. It's not a problem. Jar number 2. So I'm going to keep filling these. You probably don't want to watch me fill 18 jars. That's my goal, 18 jars. So I will bring you back. When I go to do the second, I'll show you my rack. Have 8 done. Grab my shelf, and this will go on top of those, and I'll set 8 more on here. I can do this because I have the 23 quart Presto, and that's the reason I bought it. Because if I can get 18 jars processed at once, that is big. Now it takes a lot longer for this to come up to heat and for it to come to pressure and then come down, especially when you're doing raw packed meat where everything is cold. Cold canner, cold water, cold chicken. So it does take longer, but what I end up with, the end result is a lot. Okay, the second rack is done. And I'll end up with 16 jars, because I can fit 8 on each level. If I had the small mouth, then I could fit, an extra one, but I really prefer proteins in the wide mouth. They come out a lot easier. So now I'm going to put the lid on, lock it, turn the heat up about medium high, and just let this come up to temperature until I can hear it kind of rumbling in there, and there's going to be steam shooting out of the vent pipe. And when it's like a freight train, then I set a timer for 10 minutes. And then after that, I'll put on my weighted gauge. And when it starts to jiggle, do the hula, then I set a timer for 75 minutes. Yeah. And I'll double check that. Timer just went off on the steam coming out, which is always so, there you can kind of see it. So now that goes on. We wait for it to come to a jiggle. Then we adjust the temperature on the stove. Mine's like 3.5, keeps it jiggling good. Then I set the timer for 75 minutes. Pressure's down to 0, the lock dropped. So I can take this off now, and I will wait 5 minutes before I loosen the lid and just tilt it a little so extra steam can come out. Then we'll let that sit for a few minutes and take it off, and then we let the jars adjust to the temperature change before we take them out. We don't want thermal shock. And here are all the jars the next day. It makes me feel so good to know that this is going down on our pantry shelf. It's just going to make life so easy for me, and it's so good. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this inspires you to can some chicken and put it on your pantry shelf. We'll see you next time at Pike Creek Farm.